Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment of our program brought to you by Calhoun's. Right now at all Calhoun's locations, it is their dinner and a movie promotion. If you've gone to a local theater, caught a movie, take your ticket stub on that same day, mind you. Take that same day to the ticket stub on that day, if I can say it, to Calhoun's. Any of the local Calhoun's restaurants, there's 9 of them. Get a free order of boneless wings with your purchase of a meal. Calhoun's, dinner and a movie. Check them out. Take your ticket stub to Calhoun's. All right. I want to tackle Jeremy Pruitt's honest talk yesterday. He's got a little Rick Barnes in him, I think, which I think is fun for a fan base that wanted somebody who's going to be honest. He's honest.
He has more Barnes than Barnes has.
Yeah, that's right. He's pretty rough out there. But let's start with some comments he made about yesterday's MVP, Jarrett Garantano. It didn't seem like he was as wowed by Mr. Garantano, saying, you look at one day's work out there, that's not really a true indication of how spring actually went. We will know who our quarterback is probably when we go to Charlotte about halfway through the fourth quarter. There are guys that are running open on both sides. When you got a good pocket, you got to step up there, throw the ball. We asked last week if Garantano this spring had opened up a big enough lead that he could kind of coast this fall. Had he really expected? I think that answers the question.
I think that's an answer.
Nope, he hasn't. I think that one's going to be a neck-and-neck battle with Keller Christ come fall. Your thoughts on that comment about his quarterback?
My thought is he's going to play 2 quarterbers in the West Virginia game.
That's what it sounds like.
Yes.
Exactly. I think that's what he's saying. Yeah.
That decision is made in April.
I was surprised. I was surprised. And look, we don't get to see enough of spring ball to where we have a very good opinion of it. I get that. But I thought Garantano, I thought he had a little bit of a slow start. I thought he played better in the second half. But I was surprised that he was as harsh as he was with Garantano with that comment. I think there's a clear distinction between Garantano and McBride. Right. That seemed pretty evident in the spring game. But he was a little bit hard on Garantano than I thought he would be.
I wonder, it would have also been helpful for a series or two, flip those guys. Because I wonder, not that McBride is a world beater, but he was handicapped. Yes, there's no question.
Right.
What was around him handicapped him? Your thoughts on what he said about his quarterback, his MVP quarterback?
I think you could have said the same thing, but said it in a way that makes your MVP quarterback feel a little bit better going forward. You know, hey, he did good out here. He's got a lot of strides to make, that sort of thing. That almost struck me as a little bit too. Nah, it doesn't mean squat. And I thought that was a little over the top negative. Now, I wasn't totally impressed by Garantano either, but I thought that was a better quarterback than what he showed at any time last year. Obviously, it's a scrimmage situation, but I still thought that he looked better, and he looked physically different as well. So I thought it was a little harsh.
All right, well, let's go to the next one where he talked about quitters. Pruitt on his team, he said after the game yesterday, I saw a couple of guys out there today who just flat out quit. You can call it what you want to. I'm going to say they quit because that's what I saw. There were some guys that went out there and competed and tried to do the best of their abilities, and some guys, that ain't what they did. After 15 days of spring practice, to me, for some of the guys, that's disappointing, very disappointing. Some of these guys that don't want to do it and don't want to do it right all the time, they will just be watching. I got no problems with it.
I was about to say, that kind of honesty, I don't have a problem with that either.
That's stating your case. I think the players had better be listening. Your thoughts?
Well, I think you know, with any new coach, no matter the sport, you're trying to establish your culture. That's kind of a cliche, but that's what it is, and that's what he's doing, and rightfully so, I think.
There'll be some teams checking the waiver wire for Tennessee over the next couple of weeks, because I think there'll be some people to be packing. He said he would confront them, and that until this becomes a player-led team, that he'll have to continue to do that. I actually was surprised a little bit by this, because I can't say that I saw that much quitting out there. He's on the field. He knows. He knows a lot better than I do. So, but that was pretty interesting for a coach to call him out. But if that's what he saw, he talked about the difference in the run production of one team versus the other. So basically, I think he was talking about the second-team offensive line. That's what it sounded like to me when you started getting on the runners. Right. That's where I thought some of that was directed.
I thought it came across to me more as he's directing at the first-string defense.
That's what I thought.
Because you had some guys out there that really didn't even show up, I didn't think.
And he's been critical of that first-team defense all spring. He's pointed out the fact they're not making plays, that they're not tackling well, doesn't like the body language at times. And he's a defensive coach, so I'd say they're probably under the microscope more than anyone.
Yes. You had Sapp unblocked, miss a tackle down there at the goal line, and the running back scores. I think that's the kind of thing that probably irked him a little bit more. If he was talking about the second string offense with that offensive line, heck, those guys should get some points for just showing up. You know, by the time you're at second string on this bunch.
They asked him after the game, when's the last time you had to call out a team like this? And he said 20 years, did he not?
He did.
Which would have been him in high school.
High school.
Interesting. Players ought to be listening to that. My guess is behind closed doors, they've probably already heard all this and more, is my guess. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy who'd pull many punches behind closed doors if he's not pulling them in wide open spaces in front of cameras. When we come back, he had some comments about the attendance yesterday. We'll tackle that, and we'll also tackle a little bit of the response. There were some people that didn't like it. There's already some ball-on-ball social media crime based on what Jeremy Pruitt said. We'll discuss on the Sports Source. Come on back.